Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is October, what, 4th, 5th, 5th? 4th? It's the 4th. I'm not a day ahead.
I'm seeing headlines that say 5th already.
That's because tomorrow is kind of an anticipated day. Why? Because I think a lot more is going to come out tomorrow even about the shooter in Las Vegas. You guys, we have some major breakdowns to bring you, and the biggest one that we're going to bring you, and I'm actually really excited about it, is the second major interview with Eric Paddock, which is Stephan Paddock's brother, who's the shooter at the Mandalay Bay.
Dude let so much slip out his mouth.
I kept telling Leah, like, I was downstairs outside of our kitchen window, and she's upstairs, and we're both watching it, and we're yelling at each other. We're like, put a cork in this guy. He's spilling all the beans. I mean, he's such an idiot. Who is letting him? You were just going to say, who's letting this guy? I don't know.
Right. So I know that a lot of us, rightly so, are focusing on the motive, focusing on who this guy was, what's behind it. And that is something that we have to do because of the victims.
Yep.
Okay, so we want to start out this segment. Please stick with us because we're going to break down the entire interview because it's
30 minutes long and we're going over it, the whole thing
by piece. But
it's cray.
I want to show you first this video with Donald Trump and Melania going through the Las Vegas hospitals.
Wow.
Meeting the victims.
And
this guy is injured. He's in the hospital. You can tell he's got hospital head bed.
Bedhead. Oh.
And he says, and I almost cried. He says, I am not sitting when the greatest man, the president of the greatest country on earth is coming to greet me.
Stop it.
Yes.
Ah! Patience, my young Padawan.
Here he goes.
There's no volume. I'm turning it up.
I got it.
There's Melania. Whoa. This is so great.
He can't stand for long.
Close.
It brings me to the second time. He can't. It doesn't sound like he can talk very well.
It hurts.
So, anyways, I wanted to show you guys
fantastic.
that.
That's great.
I also want to show you Donald Trump. I have a lot of little tweets to show you guys. Donald Trump says, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you to all the first responders and heroes who saved countless lives in Las Vegas on Sunday night. I know a lot of people say it's a PR this, it's a PR that, but that's what a president does. Donald Trump he's in this respect, he's very presidential. He's very hands-on. He's going to go where the people are. He's going to make his presence known and bring a lot of people some peace. You're not alone, because where the eyes of the presidents go, then the eyes of the nation go. So where he goes, it's not about him. It's about all of us turning to Puerto Rico. It's all of us. And that Puerto Rican mayor, by the way, she wore a shirt that said nasty on it. And dissed President Trump afterwards again. Okay, so if you're just joining us, Leah and I started out by telling you we have a lot to bring you. And we're bringing you some crazy stuff with Stephan Paddock's brother, Eric. We are going to bring you a theory that we have evidence for that fits everything. And to Leah and I, we believe that this is as close as anybody has gotten, and I kind of think it's very plausible. People don't have a motive. The pieces don't fit together. Right. When you hear, I'm going to give you the line first, and then we're going to listen to his brother's interview. And it all fits together. Whether this is the thing or not, we'll have to see. So pieces of the puzzle are coming together. I'm going to give you this first piece. Now, we were told by the government, the powers that be, that Stephen had checked into Mandalay Bay on the 28th. However, as my tweet is not
Oops, something went
popping
wrong.
up.
Please try again.
I'm having a hard time with Twitter lately, especially with that.
I wonder why.
Ah! I'm having a hard time with Twitter on this specific issue.
Oh, I wonder why.
Every tweet on the receipt.
She seriously was talking to the NSA through the computer earlier.
I know.
Talking about her, you can see up my nose. This is what I'm eating for dinner. She did do that.
Yeah, so there's a receipt that has come out. Somebody, Laura Loomer, I think, found a waiter on the inside. Time stamped from the 27th. Remember, the police said he checked in on the 28th. Has 2 guests on it. And it's got a hamburger, soup,
a bagel,
a water, and
2
Pepsis.
Sodas. Why do you need 2 Pepsis? You get free refills. Usually, I would guess.
And the second half will be a debunking of all the stupid conspiracies floating around about this tragedy. But first, let's discuss what's yet to be explained. Who was gunman Stephan Paddock's hotel room guest when he ordered room service for
Hooker?
2 people
Maybe?
at the Mandalay Bay Hotel 4
I don't know
days before
if
the
he breaks
massacre?
this
This
down.
is the
There it
receipt.
is.
There you see the
You need to
number
pause
of
it so
guests.
they can see it. So I'm hoping that you guys can see that. Yes. Oh, it's very
Perfect.
clear. I toned down. Somebody suggested toning down the. Yeah, I did it.
927. I think he's going to go over it, but the table number is 32, which is the floor, 135, which is the room. Server is Antonio.
So possibly with the 2 guests, Stephan Paddock sat down and asked kind of like the transgenders and stuff, and just said, I believe that I have somebody with me. Can you please put 2 guests on the tickets?
Meals, a code that means in-room dining, Mandalay Bay, and table number 32135, which equates to Paddock's
He even
room
got
number
his name on it. Leah's head's in front of it, but
135
his name is there.
on the 32nd floor. Why did this
I don't know if you
receipt
can
show
think
him
it's
in
it.
the hotel September 27 when authorities said he checked in September 28?
Maybe
Who
he went
was
for a
his
meal
guest?
first
Was it
before
the
he checked
same
in?
woman that warned concert goers they were about to die?
So there was a lady who pushed her way forward into the concert venue into the first row, and she started messing with another lady and told us that we are all going to die tonight.
Pause it right there.
This
Go ahead.
is
This is very,
big
very
bombshell number 1.
Boom.
They are now saying that Stephen was seen with a woman that was not Mary Lou.
Because she was in the Philippines.
A woman probably getting a bagel with cream cheese and a water.
Yeah. Probably a hooker.
Could be a hooker. Could be what a lot of ethnic women go to Las Vegas, and non-ethnic women, but they become not necessarily hookers, but companions and entertainers for a certain amount of money. And
exactly.
And so I believe 100% that this woman knew exactly what was going on, and she warned people. But part of the trick, and I guess I'm going to spill the beans. I'm going to show you some. I'm not like Alex Jones.
You can't hold it in.
We've got a 4chan, like Reddit thing, showing the possibility of Stephan Paddock being a gun runner. Now, what would this 64-year-old white guy be doing running guns?
Also, though, what would he be doing with millions and millions and millions of dollars?
So when you listen to his brother's interview, and all the money, all his brother can focus on is the money, the money, the
But
money.
before we show the brother's interview, I think you should give the theory because it makes more sense.
I'm totally going to. I'm actually starting out with that right now.
Great. On the same page.
I'm going to show you this 4chan thing going back and forth. I read it last night, and I said in my spirit, this is it. This fits. If this isn't it, it's like Cinderella, but it's for some reason a twisted story because it fits. The boot fits. everything weaves together if he is a gun runner.
Well, first of all, I want to answer Will's question. What about the guy with the woman? Well, to me, the guy with the woman would make sense if she was an escort or a stripper or something like that.
An entertainer is what they call
them. A lot
them.
of times they have bodyguards, personal bodyguards.
Well,
so I'm just
no,
saying,
I
or
wouldn't
they
say
have like a
bodyguards.
personal companion.
I'm
That
going to
happens
say
a lot.
that they have boyfriends.
Well, yeah,
they have real lives.
Exactly, but usually that person kind of acts as some sort of bodyguard in their life or something like that.
I'm not thinking
Just saying.
bodyguard. I'm thinking boyfriend, husband, and she is an entertainer for money. This is what women do. This is what prostitutes do in Las Vegas.
But every stripper has a bodyguard. So I'm just saying it goes, you guys can answer because you would know way better than Leah and I. I would assume that a woman escort that was a professional with high rollers in Las Vegas would probably have it. And usually their bodyguards are their companions. Are their significant
But that would
others
make
and things
perfect
like that.
sense.
Exactly.
Okay. So that explains that 100%. Now let me find, I was tweeting it last night when I went to bed. You guys follow me on Twitter if you really want the breaking news. I just tweet out everything I bring to you guys, and you guys can know before I even bring it to you. I'm Resistance Chicks. As I find things, I tweet it so they can find it again, because everything's on Twitter. And then like I go to the pages and then I just tweet it out. So I've been tweeting out a lot, haven't I? I'm trying to get a lot of information here.
John, we aren't talking about his girlfriend, Mary Lou. We are talking about whoever the extra person was that he was with, that they are saying was a woman. That's who we're saying could possibly be an escort of sorts.
Well, I have really, I need to go to last night. Let's see.
Been tweeting like a crazy man. Crazy lady.
Seriously. Leah, what? You're driving me insane here. Man, where is my tweet?
Look at your time. That was 13 hours ago.
But they're not
15
going in
hours
order.
ago.
They're not going in
14
order.
hours. Why not?
I don't know.
Why don't tweets go in order? I don't do Twitter, y'all can tell. I have a Twitter account.
Okay,
I have a Matt Twitter account. I hardly ever do it.
I found it! Woohoo! What the moment you've all been waiting for. Okay, so I actually was praying. You know, we don't lean left, we don't lean right, we lean on the Word of God. To make things clear, he was spotted with a woman that was not Mary Lou. There was somebody else with him. He ordered 2 meals. The police are on the lookout for this other companion, this other woman. They did not give a description for her.
But somebody had to see her because that ticket came with the waitress.
Waiter.
Waiter. He has to have a description of this woman.
Possibly. Maybe you just put it in the door. Okay, so this is on 4chan. Now, this is the theory that we're running with. The Las Vegas Police Department knows the motive behind the attack, but the FBI will not allow us to release the motive because it implicates the FBI in illegal arm deals and supplying arms to ISIS terrorists within the U.S. borders. That I don't know about, but I do believe 100% that he had to be in some sort of arm deals.
Right.
Stephan Paddock was an undercover FBI agent who
That's what they're saying.
I don't recognize
this person.
I'm not saying that he was an undercover FBI agent. I'm just saying I believe he was involved in some illegal activities that had to probably do with guns. Who participated in multiple illegal arms deals in Las Vegas area in a gun-running entrapment scheme similar to Fast and Furious. Paddock thought that he was engaging in another routine arms transfer, but ISIS operatives who were going to meet him learned about the entrapment scheme and Paddock's true identity. They killed him and carried out the massacre and then fled the scene. Leland Yee has a lot to do with this. Leland Yee is a Democrat politician, congressman, who I guess 5 years ago he was involved in illegal arms sales and trades and stuff, and he has a connection to the Philippines. Now, he wired $100,000 to his girlfriend and told her it was money for her family and her to buy a home. You're going to get, all this is going to fall in when you hear the brother's interview. So everyone is being kept under extreme wraps because armed ISIS terrorists are still at large, and this is very embarrassing to the FBI, and they don't want their scheme to become public knowledge. I will be sending further information the other day. People within the Las Vegas police are disgusted and are pushing for this information to be released to the public. Now, that sounds really crazy. I don't know if I believe. I don't go with this whole scheme. I'll tell you the parts that come out to me that stick are illegal guns.
Yep.
Gun running. Where did an accountant, an IRS agent, come up with millions of dollars? When you listen to his brother's interview, he was a multi-millionaire throwing cash out the window. Okay?
He says that $100,000 was a drop in the bucket to them.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. So, the people go to Las Vegas to wash their money all the time. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this because the interview is 33 minutes long. This is Leland Yee-Lin, a former Democratic California state senator for District 8.
Matt, can you turn that oven off?
Yeah, sorry. Dinner was done a long time ago. Which he was, and he went to prison for. Okay, so I don't know if Yee has anything to do with this, but I do think it cracked some things open. Within this, people were tweeting out this particular, and you aren't going to be able to see it from there.
No way.
This particular 4chan, it goes back and forth, but it let's see. Watch the upcoming, it says, watch the upcoming briefing. They're going to drop breadcrumbs, and then after the breadcrumbs supposedly are dropped, there's a couple points that the police chief Lombardo makes. The one that is the craziest is when he says, we don't know when he was radicalized or how he was radicalized, and there might be prosecution in the future for other people involved. We don't know. That's what he says. So,
very strange.
Very strange, and I want to bring you that clip. I believe the whole thing is on this Alex Jones clip that I tweeted out, and I didn't realize I was doing so much tweeting. There's a lot to this, so this is really cool. This breaks down the Eric Paddock interview. I can't wait to get me a new computer so that
we have ordered a new computer.
They just come up.
It's coming from Canada though, so pray for swift shipping.
Yes. Where is... I haven't come up with a better way to bring up the tabs, because if you open up too many tabs, then your computer just...
Alex Jones gave an interview to a former Navy SEAL, and he said they had to be multiple shooters at the Vegas shooting. We agree. I'm not discounting the multiple shooter at all. I'm just saying that on the 4th floor, that was a strobe light. So I definitely think there were other shooters. I mean, we don't even know at this point that the shooting came from the Mandalay Bay at all. It could have come from anywhere. There's Gate 6. I think Will had covered that in his video. If it really was kind of a staged event, and
the shooting was coming from Mandalay Bay, there were tons of witnesses. They could hear the gunshots.
Well, yeah, but there were also there's a lot more to it. I'm just saying there is a lot to this that we're just
I'm not throwing away on crazy.
I'm just saying there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Okay, I don't want to go on in too many wild goose chase, because then we mess with people's head.
Right.
There was enough witnesses, enough police officers. You can hear them on the scanner. The police officer said, I'm on the 31st floor. I hear him. He's right above me. And then the security guard who was right outside the door, he was the hero of the day. I have it tweeted out. There's a security guard. He was he had no gun. He knew, I don't even know if he was going to try to breach it or whatever, but he got shot in the leg because he was right outside the door. So unless somebody else randomly shot him. I don't want to go down too many crazy rabbit trails, because there is a lot to this. That's definitely...
Exactly.
Okay. There's... And you know what? Somebody else said this on Tucker Carlson. Try not to come up with crazy theories. Follow the facts.
Right.
And they'll lead you to the right theory. Our internet is not doing awesome tonight.
I don't think it's just our internet. This is a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying.
It is a conspiracy theory. We haven't had this much internet trouble in a while.
Well, we haven't covered anything that's important in a while.
That's true. So let me see if I can bring up this video. All right. Come on, video. Sorry, I'm really kind of excited about this. It's been...
Where they, you heard me say that we're comfortable that we have the suspect in custody, but something more may come of that investigation. And I want to understand the motivation that you described, okay, to prevent any future incidents. And, did this person get radicalized unbeknownst to us? And we want to identify that source.
So there's another clip that I wanted to show you where he says there could be future prosecutions, and then he says, we want to know how he was radicalized. So people don't just say radicalized unless he was just some sort of crazy madman. Now, another fact is that he was prescribed Valium. This is a fact. So Valium will take people who have aggressive tendencies and make them even more aggressive. WorldNet Daily came out with an article and said there have been two motivations or two common denominators for all mass shootings: psychotropic or whatever psych drugs and Islam. Those are the only two things. You had the Columbine kids; they were on antidepressants and things like that.
Right.
You had Adam Lansing. You had he was on like medicine. He was not mentally sound. And then you have Islam. I think it even came out that the Scalise shooter was on some sort of medicines as well. Somebody else did come out and say exactly kind of what we said in the very beginning, that the Scalise shooter and this shooter are almost like identical in age and like their demographic. 64 for Stephen, 66
White male.
for the Scalise shooter. I think it was Hodgkinson's. All right, without further ado, there's a lot of things that I want to show you from the tweeting timeline that I tweeted out today. However, I think that while you're here and as long as we have you, I'm just going to go straight into his interviews that we have here. I did have up, and I don't know if they'll both play, the comparison between the two.
We can do that after, though. I mean...
Well, we don't have all night, really.
I know, but...
Mary Lou? I'm sorry.
I would say start it from the beginning.
Took care of the people.
You don't want to start from the beginning?
No, this was the... yeah, I do. I was actually thinking to play the one initial part. Actually, I've written down the time where he says that he wasn't... That wasn't it.
I saw it written down.
He wasn't into guns. I think I know he wasn't into guns. Or
so this is the original interview.
Ever any indication at all?
I don't.
He says nothing.
We're lost. I don't understand. There's no anything.
Describe the brother you know. Describe the man you know.
He's a guy. He's just a guy who lived in Las Vegas and played at casinos, went on cruises, did stuff.
So whoever is responsible for that phone needs to be shot. Because he keeps going on and on.
It's not his phone?
No, it's not.
So we don't have the timestamp for the guns in that video?
No, but actually Alex Jones did tweet out a piece of it back and forth, and I tweeted it out.
You know what? We could get to it after. I would say go right into the full interview of him and we can just talk over it. We don't have to stop it throughout.
Okay. Well,
because it's too long to stop throughout to make points.
Definitely
we'll just
too
have
long.
to talk over it.
You'll have to go with this.
It'll be in our watch history on YouTube, which might be easier for you to play. And it might even be brought up on one of these. No, there it is, right there.
No, I have the interview up.
Okay.
I thought that I might easily be able to find the...
Easy or not so easy. Let's see. If you're intent on doing that, I will go to the comments.
Intent on doing that.
She's intent, ladies and gentlemen. The brother sounded like he was trying to clear himself. I helped my neighbors in the storm, asked them what kind of person I am, etc. Good point, Jim. He really did sound like he was trying to clear himself.
Okay, I can't find it.
Let's see. Listen to me.
Caution, we understand there is some adult language being used here. Let's listen.
There's caution, there's some adult language. To me, this seems like he's working these up. Possibly because he's seen people say he didn't have a good enough reaction the first time.
Someone texted me. First thing is thank you, whoever texted me.
This seems fake to me. It seems really put on.
He's liking the attention. Somebody texted me. The reporters are texting him.
Someone texted me. I don't know who, Reuters or somebody texted me. Thank you. That with an update that I didn't have because I took my mom to the doctor.
I took my mom to the doctor.
How's your mom? Supposedly Steve. I'm sorry. How's your mom doing? She's okay. I mean, do you want that kind of background real quick about my mom?
This is very weird.
I mean,
do you want this background about my mom?
Born in depression. She's had a tough life. Her husband was a total. He ran off, left her with 4 kids. She raised 4 kids on a secretary's salary.
His dad was a
60s
bank
and
robber.
70s.
Used machine guns to rob banks.
Some of us weren't real good kids. I mean, you guys are probably going to investigate me. I wasn't a wonderful human being when I was a kid.
He's worried about what people are going to bring up about him.
Right.
That's, at some level. We were troublesome kids. We grew up poor on the side of the freeway in the San Fernando Valley in California. I don't want to go too much into this, but how we were formed. We're just people. My mom has had a tough life, and here's where it goes in, where it branches into Steve. The Steve that we knew. Steve made my mom wealthy.
Here it comes.
He's the reason why he's not the only reason she did this.
I said we aren't going to stop it, but I need you to just for a second. You need to see that immediate break.
Right.
We're going to go on to smiling Eric Paddock now.
Right.
He cried for a second, but all the talk that he does about money and wealth makes him very, very happy.
Herself, a lot of it, okay? But he helped make her retirement very comfortable.
Look what he did for her.
She's very, very comfortable.
He's such a good guy. Right
she
now.
She wouldn't have been as comfortable because you don't make much money as a secretary in the 70s and raising 4 kids. Okay? Steve is the reason that she has substantial funds right now and is comfortable. That's the Steve I know. Okay? Now the other thing is someone said that Steve transferred $100,000. $100,000. We're wealthy people. $100,000 isn't that much money, and I'm sorry if that hurts.
It's okay, we might have to stop it.
Just a couple times. This is on the very, very important ones.
Yeah.
He says, this is one of the most important things in this whole interview.
I agree.
He says, "Woo, $100,000. We are very wealthy people." He makes it known that his brother made him and his family very wealthy on an IRS accountant salary that he somehow turned into millions
because he's an amazing gambler.
People or something, but $100,000 isn't that huge amount of money. He gambled that much through a machine in hours. I mean, once again, you need to understand.
He washed the money through the machine
where some people live. I guess everybody thinks that everybody works at Taco Bell or something. Everybody doesn't work at Taco Bell. There's wealthy people who do this. If you're going to condemn Steve for being a high-stakes gambler, the hotels are not going to be very happy with you. Go find everybody and interview them who has a card. If you're crazy for gambling the way he gambles, go find everybody at the hotels who have the hotels tell you. Everybody who's got a gold, he's got the high.
He is very angry.
Yep.
He loves the money that his brother has made. Yep. And he's angry that anybody.
And so far, you're going to find out he's willing to do anything to protect that money.
Level of membership card at a lot of these hotels. If these hotels say they don't know Steve, they're lying.
But would that transfer indicate some sort of forethought, you think, maybe? Or was that did he routinely send her money of the...
My mom? Or Marianne? Mary Lou? I'm sorry. Steve?
Do you notice he's already angry? I mean, I get a little frustrated at the computer and stuff, but he is...
very fired up, very emotional.
Care of the people he loved.
And Steve took care of
family wealthy.
Look at the smile on his face.
He's the reason I was able to
I have to do that again.
Card at a lot of these hotels. If these hotels say they don't know Steve, they're lying.
And he backpedals a second here.
Would that transfer indicate some sort of forethought, you think, maybe? Or was that did he routinely send her money of the...
My mom? Or Marianne? Mary Lou, I'm sorry. Steve took care of the people he loved.
You were painting him as a good man.
He helped make me and my family wealthy. I mean, he's the reason I was able to retire.
He helped make me and my family wealthy.
3 years ago, when I got really burnt out doing the job I did. I mean, this is the Steve we know, we knew. He's the people he loved, he took care of. He didn't have a lot of friends.
He took care of them.
He was a private person. There's a story about that he kept his window, his shades closed, and he didn't talk to me for the first 3 times he saw me walking in the neighborhood. Wow. That makes him really weird, doesn't it? He was a private guy.
He's defending his brother.
Can't find out anything about him. That's why there's no pictures.
He's explaining everything
because
away.
He didn't have a Facebook page and posted
No
50,000
pictures.
damn pictures of himself every day. Who's weird?
Can you
Fits
sympathize
the
with people
profile
who
of
would
a
be grasping for any sort
gun
of
runner.
explanation?
I'm not. Believe me, I sympathize with everybody who's grasping. Who on this planet do you think is grasping for this understanding more than me?
No, you're grasping for something.
He doesn't care about the victims at all.
I mean,
No.
once again, my heart goes out. My son called me today and he cried on the.
His son probably did cry.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it has nothing to do with him.
It has nothing to do with
with
him.
But he's just totally crushed by this. And this is why I'm not a crying kind of guy. I'm an old school kind of guy.
I think we can
My
tell
wife stayed
that.
home and raised my kids. I went out and earned the money. I'm an old school kind of guy. I'm the guy who takes care of everybody else. This crying thing is not my normal gig.
That's why you're putting it on.
I can't even process this yet, really. I mean, it's just started. I woke up this morning crying. It's like, okay, today it's being noticed.
He's very
Now,
shaky.
back to
Notice
Steve.
that? His whole face
Enough
is very
about me.
shaky. It's not about me.
I was right about, I guess, that he's, hopefully more being proved that, of course, Steve did this all by him. This is 100% Steve did this by himself. People can't seem to cope with that either. But Steve was a highly intelligent, highly successful person. He could have done anything he wanted to do.
We have to stop it there.
He is basically saying that my brother is capable of being a sociopath who could do this all by himself. He didn't need anybody else to help him.
Essentially, also, though, he is very adamant to lay to rest that there was no one else, as if he knows for a fact. Now, obviously, he doesn't know for a fact. I really don't think he knows anything. I don't think he has a lot of information other than his brother was a
somebody
guns
said
runner.
He says he did it alone 37 times in the interview.
And so he's trying to push this narrative, I think, that the powers that be got to this guy. And so he's having to backpedal and do whatever he can to protect his stuff.
Most people would
protect
not
his
come
money
out and give this kind of interview.
He did it alone. Of course he did it alone.
He made himself wealthy. He made us wealthy.
He made himself wealthy. He made us wealthy.
Right.
He's so smart.
He was a very successful person. He gambled for 20 plus years.
He ran guns for 20 plus years.
He did it
Listen to this.
mathematically.
It was like a job to him. He did it mathematically.
He did it because it was a way to have a fun life and he didn't go poor doing it. Now that may have changed. I don't know. The hotels know. They know whether he lost money or something because he never would have gambled for a second without putting the card in. Because you don't get your points and stuff. If you don't have your card in the machine, you don't get your comps.
But still no clue as to why he would do something
No
like this.
clue whatsoever. Here's the clue for the day. Someone
It's
says
very
he
odd.
transferred $100,000.
Here's the clue
to the
for the day.
Philippines. Mary Lou is...
It's an odd statement.
Yeah, they say she's Australian, I guess, but I mean, at the base, she's Filipino, I believe. I mean, she's Filipino. I mean, I think because she might have, but she has a lot of relatives. They've been to the Philippines.
He doesn't know
multiple times.
what
she
he's
has
saying. He's trying to cover up,
she went there to
backpedal.
visit her family, and he went there and surprised her.
She went there because of her family, and he would go there to surprise her. What
But
else was he doing?
you'll notice throughout, especially with those last couple of sentences, Listen, as somebody that has spun stories in the past, I know how this goes. You go to say something, and then you realize that doesn't really match up with what I'm supposed to be saying, and then you backpedal and like, well, she is Filipino, and he does that throughout. He backpedals so many times because it's like, oh my gosh, I just said something, and that's not quite right, and I have to go back to the storyline.
Showing up there, he loved Mary. I mean, he loved/loves Mary Lou, even if they broke up for some reason or something.
Pause it right there. Pause it right there. He loved/loves. He's dead. So why does it matter whether you're past tense or present tense? And then why is he immediately going into, in case it comes out some way or another that they broke up? Okay? Because there's another storyline
to her because she came out and said, I thought the money was transferred because we were breaking up.
Exactly.
Oh no. Would he have
very
told me
weird.
That?
Very strange.
Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. That's the, I mean, they make...
Would he have told me that they were breaking up? Maybe not. You know whether he did or not.
Jokes about the guys on the golf course who, golf for 3 hours, and the wife asks him afterwards, oh, what's happened
So
with
weird.
his wife? He didn't talk about his wife.
Saying.
I mean, these are people who meet on the golf course every week. Okay, so, and people joked at me about that I didn't know whether Steve was married or not. Steve did anything he wanted to do whenever he wanted to do it. He was an independently wealthy, no ties attached guy.
No
if
ties
he wanted
attached.
to get on a plane and go to Japan
Sounds so much like, CIA, FBI, deep state gun runner.
and have sushi tomorrow, he did that. Now, he probably tried to get the casino to pay for it by saying he was going to go to a casino there or something, but this will all come out if the casinos aren't lying. They comp him, I mean, he got lots of money in comps. To have him gamble with them, they would comp him for lots, okay? So the $100,000 for Mary Lou, and it's what I sent back, I mean, I'll just try to say what I said before. That's the Steve I know. That's something that makes sense. Steve would have wanted to take care of Mary Lou. Now this is I may be wrong for the day because I haven't talked to Mary Lou. We're not gonna chase her.
This is so weird.
We're not going to chase her down. We're not going to talk. I mean, that's all. Why?
No, that's not the weird part. The weird part is him saying,
oh, I know, yeah. He's going to take care of her.
My brother knew that he was going to shoot a bunch of people and commit suicide, but he was such a good guy. That's him. He would have taken care of her. So weird.
When she wants, if and when she wants to talk to us, we're here. But I mean, I don't know what the situation is because maybe Steve wouldn't have told me if they broke up because that's just the kind of, and for Steve, breaking up is a fungible thing because he still knows and hangs out with occasionally and talks to and that kind of stuff.
He's got a lot of women on the side.
Exactly.
There's no, I mean, it's not like he hates them when he breaks up with them kind of thing. I mean, the experience.
Eric, given what you know about your brother, what are the types of clues that you think will reveal why he did this?
There are no types of clues. That's the problem. The clue that reveals Steve is that he transferred $100,000 to the Philippines to take care of Mary Lou.
That's the second time he's called that $100,000 a clue.
How can you not think that it's very easy that he manipulated Mary Lou? Mary Lou's a smart lady. I'm not saying, but he could have the reason they found this stuff in the Mesquite house, he could have very easily not gone. He had multiple houses and a bunch of the hotels. Not any hotel, but many of the hotels. He walks in and says, give me a room. They give him a room for a week.
Do you feel manipulated? Do you feel by Steve? Do you feel
he goes
not in any way, shape, or form? Because I understand. Once again,
I understand.
This is so weird. Are you people watching this?
Not in any way, because I understand.
They just asked him, do you feel manipulated by him? Listen, if somebody I knew did this, I would say I am the worst people reader on the face of the planet. Okay? We've been around abusive people. We can kind of spot them. This guy here.
If your brother is capable of injuring or killing over 600 people and you don't feel manipulated, and then you go in to say, because I understand.
Watch it again.
They give him a room for a week.
Do you feel manipulated?
Wow.
Do you feel by Steve? Do you feel
Not in any way, shape, or form, because I understand. Once again, the Steve I knew.
Yeah.
I understand.
Here, okay, Steve's manipulation. It was fun to hang out with Steve because he was a rich guy who hung out.
Steve's manipulation. He's about to tell you how Steve manipulates people. He understood the way Steve manipulated people. Steve was just a manipulator, so it was just...
And it's okay because he threw us a lot of money.
In the hotels. Okay? I told this story already. When I drove out to pick my son up to bring him back here, we came back to Vegas to see Steve because I want my kids occasionally to see their uncle, but we live on different coasts of that, so when we're in the vicinity, we try to see him. I mean, I would have seen him more recently this year. We were out in the motorhome in Yellowstone, but we were gonna go by Reno and see him, but we didn't make it because it snowed on us and da-da-da-da-da-da, so I didn't see him. But with my son, we stopped. We ate in one of the best, in the Fusion restaurant. I highly recommend the Fusion restaurant. I can't think of the name, but the Fusion restaurant
amongst all of this.
Thousands of dollars of sushi.
We ate thousands of dollars of sushi?
You can find the date because when they look at Steve's records, his credit card paid for the tip. And that's it. And we ate thousands of dollars of sushi. So it was fun to be with Steve.
Because he was Steve's friend, full of money.
Would spend money on you.
But did he have a lot of friends?
No. That's, once again, that's where we're getting to with Mary Lou.
No,
that's
he didn't have a lot of friends.
I mean, that's what must be that Steve was cratering into this hell, that he wanted to take care of Mary Lou. He sent some money where it's available to her. I don't know if they can claw it back or da-da-da. Maybe if it was Steve, he'd probably send it to a bank where it got turned into cash in the Philippines or something and was withdrawn or something, because he probably was. Steve, if you want to think Steve's an evil genius, how can you not think it was easy enough for him to come up with a scheme to take the money and have it available for Mary Lou in a place where she would be safer to be? He wanted her, and this is today's thing I might be wrong about.
Somebody needs to put a cork in this guy.
Put a cork on this guy. You're just talking about how wonderful your brother is. My brother was so smart, he would have come up with a scheme so that they couldn't recall the money, so that was immediately turned into cash, so that the government couldn't take it back.
To be completely as far away
Remember, his father was a bank robber with machine guns?
From this, and safe when he did this. Because maybe if he wanted to, he wanted to make sure she had money. She wanted to make sure the same exact thing, the first thing that came to my mind was that she didn't get shot. Because she was walking through the hotel when the cops came in and her picture started flashing or something.
So I know we weren't going to stop this throughout because it's so long to be stopping, but here's the thing, guys. He just said he would be thinking the same thing that I would be thinking, that we wouldn't want her to be shot as she was walking through the hotel. Shocked, whatever. I'm just saying he's already putting his mind into his brother's mind. Very creepy. Press play.
Something.
It must feel so ironic that he would take such great care of her, yet such so disregard for others.
Ironic?
You must think, these reporters, I don't even know what's going through their mind, Michelle. The reporters asked him, you must think it's ironic that he would take such good care of her, but then he would go and do this horrible thing to people. And again, he goes, no. Listen to that again.
The same exact thing, the first thing that came to my mind was that she didn't get shot. Because she was walking.
You're right, shot. She didn't get shot.
Walking through the hotel.
Because she was walking through the hotel.
The cops came in and her picture started flashing or something.
It must feel so ironic that he would take such great care of her, yet such so disregard for others.
Ironic? Yes, I guess that's not exactly, I don't know a better word for it, but yes, but the people he loved, he took care of, and as he was descending into hell,
he took care of.
As he was descending into hell.
Is that why this is so hard to wrap your head around?
That's exactly. The Steve I know, this is like he knew he had brain cancer and was going to die in 6 months.
So he went and shot a bunch of people.
He would have gone into the hospital for treatment. He would have died. Now, how this happened, that what he
throw
did,
himself off a cliff.
Taking care of Mary Lou.
Don't
because
take
he
a bunch of people with
took
you.
care of the people who he was friends with.
So how can he be a good guy?
You know, if you
and
think
a mass
he's such an evil
murderer?
genius, and how could he not just manipulate Mary Lou? They could have not gone to their house in Mesquite because they stopped in Reno, and then she flew down to see her parents or her kid or something, and he flew over here, and I mean, him getting on a plane and flying somewhere is like you going to Publix.
He owned a couple planes. He had a pilot's license, by the way.
I mean, it's something he just does every week.
You use the phrase evil genius. Do you think that he was?
I'm sorry. I mean, that's the thing I shouldn't have said. But that's what people are. I mean, that he's this, you know. But he's a highly intelligent. There's absolutely no. And this is the other part that I want to stress.
If my brother's going to be a mass murderer,
it doesn't matter. They won't chase people. But people are saying, "Oh, he must have had help." Steve had no help. Steve didn't take help. It did not take a village for Steve. Steve was I'm sorry. Please don't. I'm using a colloquial. I was about to use a colloquial term that would besmudge one of the armed forces. Steve was a standalone guy.
That's the one that people keep playing over and over again. Laura Loomer thought that he was going to say arms dealer. He was going to say Steve was an army. His own army. He worked alone. He knows his brother so well.
But if we go back, and I don't know if we're going to have time to actually go back to the footage. You may just have to take our word for it or go Google it. When he was initially confronted about his brother, no, my brother wasn't a gun guy. No, he didn't. He hardly had any guns. No, he couldn't have done this, all this stuff. And now he's coming out and saying, of course my brother could have done it.
And he could have done it all by himself.
And he had no help whatsoever.
Okay. Steve,
play this.
If you wanted to hang out with Steve, you hung out with Steve, but you had to understand Steve was a little quirky. Here's the story. You know, here's how Steve is. I would go, you know, when I was flying or whatever, if he was in town and I happened to be flying over, I'd stop in where, you know, we'd go to the hotel and stay at the hotel for a couple days or something and sit under the cabana or something like that. But with Steve, it was like, he'd spend, you know, I'd get to partake of a bunch of thousands of dollars of comps on the hotel.
I would get to partake.
But Steve would say, oh, can you go get me a sandwich? Well, of course, I knew. I mean, someone might not understand that, you know, that
manipulator.
That's the cost of being with Steve, is that you have to.
That you're treated like a slave.
Go get him a sandwich if you needed a sandwich. And because Steve didn't want to. You know, this nonsense about how do you get the guns in.
Listen to this, though.
You take $100 bill and you hand. Oh, I'm sorry. You take $100 bill and you hand it to the bell cap and they go, "Oh, Mr. Paddock, oh hi. Oh, you got a couple bags today? Okay, we'll take those up." I mean, there's no magic there.
You never knew him to be an angry person.
But if you'll notice as he continues to talk, he says, "My brother didn't carry things. He didn't do things." So if he's such a massive, lazy, good for nothing that gets everybody to do something for him, that doesn't actually go hand in hand with the type of guy that would take all of this on himself.
And who would be able to procure all these things and do all this shooting.
Right. Either you're a lazy good for nothing or you're not.
Now listen to this.
If you're gonna call him crazy, if we were gonna call him crazy because he's an angry person, then you had better call everybody on the news from 4 o'clock to 12 o'clock at night a crazy person. Okay? That's the end of the day. Was he an angel? Of course he wasn't an angel. Did he about people who annoyed the crap out of him? Of course he did.
Okay, he's covering up for his brother.
Yep.
Obviously, he was violent. His brother was violent. We know from the Starbucks woman who said that they would cringe every time he came in. I am buying this for you, just like I'm buying or paying for you too.
Right.
To the Filipino girl, Mary Lou, and the way he excuses his brother. He was obviously violent. He was always angry.
Right.
And he's saying, he goes on to talk in a really creepy way. If you're going to call my brother crazy for being angry, you're going to have to call everybody crazy.
He already said that part.
Sorry.
I know, it's very creepy.
I'm not talking about that. I mean,
You find me anything, anywhere.
Why is he defending him?
Who have no reason to tell you that he was a a nice guy.
If your brother
People
just
used to pay
killed
him rent.
59 people,
I mean,
everything he did is now evil. You don't defend anything.
That we have. The
You
guy
defend
says, "Oh, and
nothing."
by the way, you know, the place sucked when we moved it, when we bought it. We fixed it up and made a nice place for these people to live." And Steve gave them cheap rent because we wanted happy people. Nice people in our apartments. He said, he had a quirky sense of humor. Well, what the hell's a quirky sense of humor? People watch movies where they butcher little kids. What the hell are you? This is what
people do when they're trying to cover up lies.
Yep.
They fix things up. They put people in apartments for cheap rent. They're laundering money. It's called money laundering. He's in on it.
They don't need the money. That's why you have the cheap rent.
On it 100%.
Yep.
Why everybody, and here's my diatribe for the day. This is what everybody's so scared about right now. When Steve can do...
You don't get to lecture anybody. Your brother's a mass murderer, by the way.
This, we are in deep shit. Because there's just nothing there. You find me where someone who's like Steve does this. I hope the hell they find...
It's called the movies. They do it all the time.
The autopsy, that there's a tumor in his head or something. Because if they don't, we're all in trouble. Because this is... Steve was just... I mean... Steve's dead. You can't say anything bad about him anymore because who cares? Say whatever you want about him. It's not going to hurt me.
Okay, first he says you can't say anything bad about him. He's dead, but I don't care. Who cares?
Me? Something horrible happened to my brother. And whatever happened to him in his head that made him go over the edge like this, you don't, when the lights go out at night and you lay your head on your pillow, this is you and me.
No!
I mean, come on, guys. This is what everybody's so scared about right now.
No. You're scared because you think it could be you.
Hang on, though, because listening to this guy, you almost kind of want to believe him until you stop and process what he just said. What he is saying is my brother was a regular guy, and if it can happen to him, then it can happen to anyone. What is this thing that can happen? Okay, it's not a brain aneurysm. It's not a brain tumor. It is not cancer. Okay? What he's saying is if they can get my brother to do something, then they can get anybody to. If they can patsy my brother, they can patsy anybody.
It could be the Valium, however. The Valium, usually, I watched some doctors. They said, or I read some doctors, they said, the Valium would be outbursts, a quick outburst, not
now a lot of people, and if I don't mention this, I know many of you are going to get angry. A lot of you keep saying MK Ultra. MK Ultra, MK Ultra. And so they're saying that that's kind of, from what I understand, and I don't know a lot about this. I've only just seen it from what you guys said. I know Will knows a lot about it. I know Gary does. What they're saying happened to Lee Harvey Oswald. Things like they gave this drug, okay, to this person, and that's what made
So his brother believes that is the case, by the way.
Right.
You have no control. Someone asked me about, do I know
That's
what
why
I mean, my mom wants her son's ashes. I don't have any idea how to, nobody's contacted me. I mean, who knows what they do. Are we going to have a funeral?
Now he's talking about funerals.
It's very weird. Steve was into being alive today. If you wanted to have a
Unabomber.
party,
it was the Unabomber.
Go hang out
was the
with
MK
people
Ultra.
alive.
Thank you.
That was how Steve lived. Funerals weren't.
You've been able to speak with us so much, and you've been so good about talking to us. How have you been able to keep such a level head?
How do you keep a level head?
You said you had a stressful job. But
Because I'm an old-fashioned guy. My life has been, I'm going to say my life hasn't been wonderful. And then some poor guy who's, got cancer and his mom, someone's got a worse life than me.
Mind control. I think that's what it is.
I have lived, and I don't want to talk about me because and this is what sucks, I'm going to use the same terms, I'm just a guy. Here's Eric Paddock. I was the youngest son. I grew up with a single mom. Steve was like the dad surrogate. I mean, he took me camping.
Here comes the gang. He's
such a good guy. I love this guy.
I love my mass murderer brother.
Look at his eyes, creepy
I did
eyes.
some stuff when I was a teenager. Okay? I have no criminal record.
Is this
or any
some
that
sort of
stuff because
weird
I'm
priest
smarter than the
confessional?
average bear, and I knew to hang out with people who were dumber than I was and who would get caught faster. Okay? Bottom line. That's how it works.
Have you asked yourself why? I mean, I love,
My
Vegas
dad
and
raised
gaming
criminals,
life,
by the way.
Why would you choose a casino to? I mean, not that you know, but if you asked yourself why he would take
Absolutely.
love so
well,
much.
Of course, absolutely. It's not that Steve didn't love it. It was a job.
Steve didn't love it. It was a job.
For 30 years that I wasn't all that crazy about, but I made a lot of money. Okay? I didn't love my job. I pretty much hated my job, but I made a lot of money. I created 4 children successfully. I have a house. I have a retirement. I get to go drive around in my cheap little motorhome now. It's not, Steve didn't love the casino. The casino was a means to an end.
The casino was a means to an end.
A job. It was like a job at Toyota in Japan where you
because he
live in
had to
Toyota
launder the
across
money.
street.
It's the only
And
way
you go
to
the
get it
Toyota
out.
factory.
If you're a millionaire and you don't love going to the casino, then you just don't go. You do something that you love because you're now a millionaire and you can do
don't
whatever
need
you
to.
want.
Right.
But he had to go there because it was like a job.
Yep.
Because he was in so deep,
Right.
he had to continue laundering the stuff.
To work.
Come on,
That's
you
what
guys.
See, that's all the casino was to him. It was a place where you lived and they were nice to you, and you could.
That's all the casino was to him. A place where you lived and they were nice to you. That's all the casino was to him. I could just stop it right here. That sums it all up, okay? If he didn't love being a gambler, people go to Vegas because they enjoy gambling, okay? They enjoy it. When you're a millionaire and you don't enjoy gambling, then you can take...
I'm the guy.
Back to the hymn
I'm
crying.
the guy who helps everybody else.
Me. I'm this great guy.
The lady who pulled in, I helped her husband pull a tree off his house.
This is not a real person.
I'm the kind of guy who goes around and helps. I'm just that kind of guy. I'm extremely lucky in life.
What does this have to do with anything?
A lot. I mean, go find my history. I worked 1 billion hours and was not home with my family.
What about the families, you weirdo?
But I'm not guilty for being successful.
Why is everything? This is so defensive.
I'm not guilty
Every
for
word
being
out of his
successful.
mouth
I
is
have all this
defensive.
money. He is a criminal.
Okay, hang on, though.
This
First
man
off,
is a criminal.
I noticed yesterday on the video that this microphone on the thing, it gets fuzzy when we scream.
This man is a criminal.
Sorry, guys.
Can you see him trying to explain away his money? What he?
But for all the rest of the people, once again, please.
Say to the families that the victims who
She says, I want to know what you're saying to the families, to the victims.
are trying
The family.
to understand, to get insight.
Think about Steve.
Think about Steve. This is what I'm going to tell to the families. Think about Steve and his money.
However you have to think about Steve. Here's my statement.
He stops that. Did you see that? However, think about Steve. However you need to think about
If
it.
we have to have a funeral for Steve, here's how pragmatic.
What do you say to the family? You guys, I wish I could break this up in a different manner, but it's so mind-boggling. Michelle and I were like, she was downstairs.
I was outside,
and I was in the kitchen.
And we're both watching it on separate.
And I'm like chopping
and
salad.
we're yelling up and back.
Did you hear that? Stop it! Rewind!
Somebody needs to put a cork in this.
Stop this man! He's gonna go to jail soon.
Hey, this is.
What do you say to the families? And then he says, well, funeral. I'm going to play that. I'm sorry. I have to play that one more time. I have to play this one more time.
Thank you guys for sticking with us. Isn't this fun?
Please.
Say to the families that
I want to know, what do you say to the families?
the victims who are trying
The family.
The families?
to understand, to get insight.
Think about Steve. However you have to think about Steve. Here's my statement. If we have to have a funeral for Steve, here's how pragmatic. This is how pragmatic I am. If having a funeral for Steve and letting all these people come and spit on his grave will...
He's crying because he wants a funeral for his brother because he loved his brother.
Right.
So his thing to the families is, if you're so mad at my brother for what you've done and you need to spit on his grave...
I meant to shake this. It's touching
I'm
me.
sorry. Then fine.
will make them feel better in any way, shape, or form. I'm using the far end here. Come on, guys, give me a little stretch here. If having a funeral for Steve would help anybody, I will do whatever is possible. My heart is torn.
I don't know if I'm a victim. I don't want to go to somebody's funeral and spit on their grave. I just want you to say, I'm really, really, really sorry.
Destroyed for all these people. But I can't tell you why Steve did what he did. It's so far over the side of the cliff.
It's so,
from
and
Steve that I knew.
We're gonna get to some weapons at the 30-minute mark. So stick with us for a few more minutes.
You go in. Do any of you guys ever gamble at all? When you gamble and you win, you're all happy. It doesn't matter if you're up $500. When you lose, you're not happy. So, you're unhappy that you lost because you think you lost. But that's not, Steve didn't gamble that way. Steve gambled as a job.
He gambled as a job.
They haven't talked to
Steve didn't gamble that way. He gambled as a job.
To launder money.
I know nothing from them. They aren't. I have to find out stuff about that. I was yesterday. Nobody has come. I found out about this $100,000 on the web. Somebody texted me. If it's true, I'm sorry if it's not true. But once again, here I can talk to that because it fits exactly into what I would expect from Steve.
The money throwing brother.
He took care of Mary Lou.
But then he just said $100,000 wasn't a lot of money. Remember?
The fact that
so he obviously didn't take very good care of her,
or he could have given her $1 million.
People.
Why just 100,000?
There's just no connection there for me. I don't.
Michelle and I were saying that if he's such a great guy and he wanted to take care of Mary Lou and he's a millionaire and he knows he's going to die, why didn't he just transfer all of his money to her?
Right.
But
I think he transferred it to him.
And even there's so he lost $4 million, so Mary Lou broke up with him. That's not even.
Where did that story come from?
For Steve, because
it's running around and I'm just saying.
He had setbacks.
But he said that's no big deal to him.
Real estate business in LA back when the bottom fell out.
$4 million is no big deal to him, is what he said.
We just went on. There's no. We're pragmatic people.
Sorry.
We just. We keep going. That's why this not keeping going. There was something that happened to Steve.
I'm sorry. They don't know what you're doing. You're just you're shaking.
I'm not even trying to excuse anything or anything.
Yes, you are.
Something happened that drove him into the pit of hell.
Something happened to him. Something happened to him.
He did this.
You're hoping that there's some autopsy will reveal something to explain.
I'm praying for at least some data points because otherwise it's the bug in Men in Black put on a Steve suit and went and did this. There's no
When I heard that the first time I yelled up at Leah, I was like, did you hear that?
There's no other rationalization. He didn't plan this for 35 years. He didn't plan this for 35 years.
Well, he planned it for at least a few months. He got the guns in June, some of them.
Whatever caused him to do this happened in a very
methodical way.
I don't know what a very short time period is to you, but this happened over the course of months. It happened over the course of months. And here's what I say to the people. If they're trying to understand Steve, maybe no one will ever understand Steve. But, this is what I'll carry for the rest of my life. Had I called him back instead of texting, would I have heard something in his voice? Would he have given up something? Would he have? I don't know. I can't say. That's what I'm going to carry for the rest of my life.
I know. But I'm just saying, you usually give up something that involves other people, not just what you're going to do.
That's pure conjecture. For the people who have been affected by this,
he's going to get into the weapons here in just a couple minutes.
I could do to make this better.
This is the only tiny clip where he seems a little bit remorseful.
Nobody wants to hear this, but I'm as touched by this. My brother's dead, who wasn't this guy who did this.
My brother is dead, who wasn't this guy who did this. That sentence alone says a lot to me. My brother is dead, who wasn't the guy that did this. My brother wasn't the guy who did this. If you take that out, he literally just said, my brother wasn't the guy who did this. Just saying.
He was a good guy. And I know this is,
he can't let his brother's memory go because he knows his brother probably didn't do it.
I think he did. I think he was part of it. I think he knew exactly.
I think he was a gun runner, and I think he knew what was going to go down. But I don't think that he thought he was going to die that night.
Once again, people 20 years ago who have no reason to say anything nice about him or anything, or say nice things about him. People
Got any treats?
who don't even know him hardly.
Sydney is a treat. Sorry.
This is a horror, just a horror story in every possible way.
You got that right.
It's the bad twist at the end of a good movie. At the end of a good movie or something.
Hang on though. What was the good movie? What was the good movie in Steve's life? The fact that he was manipulative, the fact that he asked you to go get a sandwich, treated you like a slave. The good movie part to Eric here is the fact that his brother threw a bunch of money around. That's the good movie. It's a bad ending to a good movie.
You know what this reminds me of? Muslims. No offense if you're a Muslim. But it reminds me of that, like the 72 virgin thing is what I'm thinking of.
Good.
It's how in the hell did this happen?
Hey, Eric, what do you know? What facts do you know about the last weeks or months of Stephen's life? What do you know anything, or is it just blank?
I don't know anything exactly specific about the last month of Steve's life. Except that he called my mom and talked to her. And I don't even know specifically he had multiple residents and he stayed in hotels. I don't even know necessarily where he called from because I don't ask.
He has multiple residences and he stayed in hotels. He's a criminal.
Here's another Eric's conjecture for the day. What they normally did, they drove into Vegas and they stayed at the hotel for a night, had dinner, relaxed, etc. And then they flew out to go on a cruise, or she flew out to go to see her daughter, or to see her relatives.
They went into Vegas to launder money, did what they had to do, and then went off and did something
sat
big.
around the casino and gambled.
Exactly.
That's kind of what he did.
Yesterday you were wondering about where he got the automatic weapons. It's come out that he purchased 2 buff stocks, which are things that...
Those are things that you add to a gun that only make 2, sort of semi-automatic weapons, sort of automatic.
Okay, this is very interesting. Yesterday, or the first interview, I'm sorry, this is the key part of this interview.
And he knows a lot about this bump stock.
Okay, we do now because we know.
We've researched.
We researched it, yeah. And you guys can research it too. It turns it into a machine gun pretty much. And he goes in to talk about the weaponry, like he knows what he's talking about. But what I wanted
then he goes and says, I don't really know much.
From the first interview, he says my brother was not a gun guy.
Yep.
And he may own
a couple of little rifles or something.
I don't know. They showed pictures of guns. If he had that many guns, did he have real... once again, this is... Who knows? Did he have fully automatic weapons? I don't know this anymore. The feds aren't telling me anything. So, the pictures what you're hearing from the feds is more than they're telling me. Because, of course, they don't want to tell me anything because in case I'm lying to them or something.
Oh, in case I'm lying to him or something. Did you see that massive eye roll? In case I'm lying to him or something.
He is lying out every side of his mouth, his ears, his
that
feet,
eye
his
roll
rear.
was gigantic. That is a liar's
Look at his
eye
eyes
roll.
right here. Seriously, somebody's got to be breaking this guy down.
What do you think of him making that purchase?
That he bought the stuff to make it automatic? Well, of course. He probably... Again, do you want to understand, Steve?
Yeah, that's what I'm wrong.
Okay, Steve bought those...
He said, do you want to understand Steve? Okay, here we go.
Bump stock things. Were they attached to guns?
Steve bought those bump stock things.
Were they attached to guns?
When they found them?
And then he smiles. Look at this weird smile. Like he knows something.
Like he knows that his brother wouldn't have used a bump stock.
This is the queerest thing, you guys. I have to play this again. He's just playing.
That is, were they attached to the gun when he found... Like my brother wouldn't have used the bump stock. Because I know my brother and his gun obsession.
This is so weird.
That he bought the stuff to make it automatic? Well, of course.
Of course.
He probably... Again...
Do you see every time he stops because he's going to say something and he has to rewind in his mind. I can't say that.
Who's letting this guy get away with this stuff? I mean, I'm telling you, somebody should put a cork in him.
Do you want to understand, Steve?
All right, here it comes.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to you.
Steve bought those bump stock things. Were they attached to guns when they found them? Okay, find out if they were attached to guns. He may have had them in the bag because he tried them and didn't like them.
What is this? What are we watching? This is the most insane interview on the face of the planet ever on video.
He knows his brother tried bump stocks and didn't like them. And
he smiles like,
and we're about to
in the
get
bag.
to
What bag? What bag did we? What bag? He's like, were they in the bag? What bag? Bag? Were they in the bag? Oh my gosh, you guys! I gotta play this.
Have any of you ever fired an automatic weapon?
Because I have. That's what inferred when he's.
It's not
you go
fun.
do it for, you know, you give them some money and they'll let you go shoot a machine gun in Los Angeles.
Now he's saying,
oh, this is how you can make that happen.
It's not fun. I mean,
It's
you
not
have to be a little
fun.
weird because it beats the crap out of you. And Steve was beat up and a little, you know, he had his knees were sore and he'd fallen in the casino and his leg hurt and all this.
He just said his brother was a pretty beat up dude.
And he couldn't do this kind of shooting. Now he goes on to talk about tripods.
Stuff. So he wasn't gonna hold. You know, they said, how did Steve get the stuff up to the room? Steve didn't get the stuff up to the room. He gave a kid $100 and the kid brought it up on a little gold trolley.
You kind of say that like you know that he did that.
Steve didn't carry anything up to the room. Okay? And if the pictures show up showing me wrong there, then it's, you know, I'll be a little surprised. Because Steve didn't carry stuff.
Steve didn't carry stuff. He
Lazy,
didn't do stuff.
bum, good for nothing. Beat up.
Who?
You and your brother?
Not in any way, shape, or form.
Did you and your brother grow up around guns?
Until we were late teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns for some reason. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns for some reason. Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to
For some reason. Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to
For some reason. Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this.
Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
Hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this.
Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
Hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this.
Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
Hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this.
Silly bump stop. Teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns.
Hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this.
I unmuted it. Rewind it. Sorry, guys. That's my fault.
What did you do?
I had unmuted it to listen to it, but I didn't know it was going to come through on them.
Oh, okay.
Rewind it.
Okay, here we go.
My
In
bad.
any way, shape, or form. Until we were late teenage, did we ever... My mom's not into guns at all. Her husband went to jail for robbing banks with a machine gun. My mom is not into guns for some reason. But, you know,
Sorry, guys.
Steve would have taken that silly bump stop thing, whatever it is.
That silly bump stop thing or whatever it was, and tried it.
Right.
I mean, they're saying he had tripods. That would be exactly what Steve would do. Because you can't hold a machine gun and shoot. You're not gonna a normal person is not going to hold a machine gun and shoot 100 rounds out of it. It'd rip your shoulder off. If you've ever shot a real rifle, you don't pull the trigger on a .223 a bunch of times. I mean, I have a fake shoulder. But it's not because of guns, but I could not even shoot a .223 if I wanted to anymore. So...
Anymore.
And I don't own one. I don't own a semi-automatic. Well, I do. I own a 22 caliber little semi-automatic.
So him and his brother have shot
targets at the range.
AR-15s, 222s.
Right.
You don't shoot an automatic weapon. That is Steve.
223s.
Steve said, I mean, this is what's so. This is why, like I said, it's the insanity of it. When Steve decided to do this, he still had his thinking brain on, because he did all this stuff. He procured this stuff.
When Steve decided to do this, he still had his thinking brain on.
I mean, he would get a tripod to put the damn gun on, because then you can easily fire the gun.
Hang on, rewind that a minute, because that was really important when I listened to it earlier. It said, go ahead, press play now. He messes up what he's going to say, and he said, he decided.
You don't shoot an automatic weapon. That is Steve. Steve said, I mean, this is what...
Stop.
Steve said.
Steve said. Rewind it again.
One more time.
Automatic rifle that I taught my children how to shoot little targets at the range with. But you don't shoot an automatic weapon.
You don't shoot an automatic weapon, and he's going to say, Steve said.
That is Steve. Steve said, I mean...
Play that one more time. You don't shoot an automatic weapon. That is Steve. Steve said. This right here needs to be played over and over and over again.
And I don't own one. I don't own a semi-automatic. Well, I do. I own a 22 caliber little semi-automatic rifle that I taught my children how to shoot little targets at the range with. But you don't shoot an automatic weapon. That is Steve. Steve said, I mean, this is what's so...
That sums it all up.
He knows. He knows.
And he should not do this thing that he's doing.
They should not be allowing this guy to
because
speak.
He is chewing on his words. He's spitting out all kinds of false narratives. He's catching himself in lies. We're catching him in lies.
I'll rewind it again. They saw it enough.
Okay.
Just press play.
This is why, like I said, it's the insanity of it. When Steve decided to do this, he still had his thinking brain on.
Stop. I know.
Because he did all this.
When Steve decided to do this, he still had his thinking brain on. How does he know when Steve decided to do this if he still had his thinking brain on? Because you just said you think your brother had an aneurysm or a brain tumor or something. So how do you know
what
when
he's saying is that my brother wouldn't shoot an automatic weapon because he still had his thinking brain on. He knew he couldn't shoot automatic weapons. And that was what Steve said. That's what Steve would do. Steve wouldn't do automatic weapons.
Right.
Stuff. He procured this stuff. I mean, he would get a tripod to put the damn gun on because then you can easily fire the gun.
He procured this
that
stuff.
Makes sense. I mean, these are just logical things. This is no great leap.
I mean, his relationship with Mary Liz, like where they met, what they.
How are these reporters not addressing any
He
of
met her.
this?
She was
They're dumber in a box of rocks.
I mean, someone.
Well, they have their
my
narrative.
memory. She was a hostess. At
Somebody
the
refreshed my memory.
She was a big fish at the Atlantis in Reno. They were adorable. Steve's this big, she's this tiny thing.
This adorable serial killer or mass murderer.
I mean,
he loved her.
I mean, he doted on her. I mean,
He's so proud of his brother, even
like
now,
I
with
said,
that smile on
but
his
you're
face.
not gonna, maybe she has pictures of this, maybe her side of the family or the kids took pictures of this, but you don't. Once again,
we're getting our first.
All right. That was really hard to get through.
No, it wasn't. It was fun, actually. Why?
So,
because I think we're getting a lot of truth coming out of that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sorry if the sound is bad, guys. I had thought about using my microphone. We're still working on this stuff. So if you're getting a lot of, and I'm sorry about the sound before when I played the thing. That was kind of funny. I didn't hear it, but I know exactly what the sound that it was making. And I apologize. But anyway, here's the thing, guys. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that isn't out yet that's gonna come out, and so I don't want to kind of like be prejudging things too much, but I honestly believe that Stephan Paddock was a gun runner and he used gambling as a way of laundering the money from the gun running. Those two things I'm almost convinced of, like pretty much convinced that those are facts. I also believe that this was not planned by him. I don't think he just sat down and decided this is something I am going to do. I think that he one of the narratives was that he showed up thinking it was going to be another arms deal,
Here's
and that's why he had all the guns there.
Here's the two.
And then they show up and carry out this task, which is highly plausible. Whoa, hang on. Too many noise.
This guy's the worst actor. I mean, it doesn't. So there's nothing. Of course, Steve did this all by himself. This is 100% Steve did this by himself. People can't seem to cope with that either. But Steve is was a highly. I couldn't be more. This guy's the worst actor. I mean, it doesn't. So there's nothing. Of course.
Okay.
So there's footage, and we don't have it right now, and I was hoping that we would, where he literally talks about how his brother was not into guns. He came out immediately to say that. If you knew that your brother was into guns, what would be one of the first things that you would say coming out?
Right.
His story got switched almost overnight.
So here is NBC News. This is what I was talking to you about. Investigators are trying to identify a mystery woman seen with Stephan Paddock in the days before the Las Vegas massacre. Several law enforcement officials told NBC News they don't know if she has any connection to the attack, but they would like to speak with her as they build a timeline of Paddock's last days, the officials said. Paddock's longtime girlfriend, Mary Lou, was not in Las Vegas, but she is in town, and she released a statement saying, "I'm really, really sorry for all this has happened. I love him." Weird.
Now, whoever she spoke with on the phone, it was like a family member, her brother or something like that, and she said to them, "Don't worry, I'm going to take care of this. I have a clear conscience. I'll fix it."
Now, Newsweek reported an article. I just want to clear this up because I did tweet it out, that she had 2 social security numbers, was married to 2 people at once. It's false. They actually had to retract that story. So I think there's so many stories that I wanted to go over with, but we got to get going.
No, we can't. Will had sent me something. It was a Craigslist ad, I think, of them advertising 15 days ago, roughly, for crisis actors in Las Vegas. So here's the thing. If this thing was kind of one of the more staged events, obviously people died. This really did happen. But to create the big chaos, then that really does fall into play with that. I know, Will, you've mentioned a couple of times the people in the crowd saying they're not real shots. They're not real shots. I have an opinion on that, and not to be contrary to what Will is saying or what a lot of you guys are saying, but my thought on that is we've got drunk people at a concert, and these are just everyday people. A lot of them were. There may have been some crisis actors in there, but to me, it makes total sense if you're drunk and you're trying to tell people, hang on, no way, those are real shots. They're not real shots. Okay, right. So that makes sense to me. I'm not sure that I'm exactly convinced that it really is somebody that is in the know that is saying that.
I love people at country music concerts, but if they're drunk people are stupid. They're stupid. They're so stupid. That's why you don't drink and drive. I hate being around people who drink alcohol. I can't stand it because they're not all together there. Okay? My dad was an alcoholic. Yeah. I've been around alcoholics my whole life.
Right.
I don't want to be around them because I know that something happens between a clear mind and a drunk mind, and half those people in the crowd were drunk, and that's why you saw people standing.
Right.
That's why you don't drink and drive, because you don't have the ability to duck and cover. And
right. So Jim West gives a point that you talked about yesterday about how a lot of people, nobody saw flashes coming from the windows.
Right.
And there's not a lot of footage that shows.
You said that there was.
I did see some. I think I saw footage. I'm almost convinced it was one of the first ones that I saw footage of flashes coming from the windows.
Before we go, I'm going to go ahead and we do need to go, but I want to show you some footage of what a bump stock AR-15 looks like.
All these dogs here.
When it's being shot. Let's see.
And that is something that Otto just pointed out with that cab driver video. The shots did sound like they were coming closer than the 32nd floor.
I wonder why YouTube doesn't want us.
32 floors up. It would be a pretty muted sound. It did sound like those shots were coming like right above that cab.
This guy right here is about the same age
You have seen us use it.
And it gets hot. So hot.
Oh, so nice.
Wow.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
He's very excited about this.
Listen, if you're shooting watermelons, it's not a bad thing. It's a waste of watermelon and pop.
Oh, man.
And do you know how expensive that ammo is?
Having more fun than you ought to have. Pretty cool, pretty cool.
But see, do you see how much that's smoking after 2 or 3 rounds?
Well, you don't mean rounds, but you know what I mean.
Magazines.
Right.
Yeah, I do. Well,
one balloon's a round.
You know what I mean. Well, one magazine.
In layman's terms, in Leah terms, you can say 1 round of the going of the
Come on,
shooting.
everybody knows what I mean. But
seriously, the guns get hot. We've watched footage since yesterday of guys melting guns. You know what I mean?
With
from
that
shooting this
many,
kind of stuff.
yeah,
I
with
mean,
that many, he would have had to have that many weapons, because in order to shoot off as many rounds as he was shooting for 10 minutes.
And like common sense says, smoke would be pouring out of the window.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this chick does it at night.
And it didn't clog, which is another thing we talked about yesterday. They say clog. They use your word. It didn't jam. That's another thing. It's like these shots just kept going and going. And whenever you have this kind of firepower, you're going to have jams.
This guy melts he melts it. I thought it would come up on this one, but yours isn't coming up.
I don't know which computer you watched it on.
He melts it. Well, anyways, that's what it looks like when it's being shot. This chick shoots it, but she shoots it at the end in the dark.
Not fire.
But it was dark out. I mean, I know Las Vegas is lit up, but it was dark. I mean, look at all that.
That's what it would have looked like. Okay? Do you understand?
The bullets themselves flying through the air would have been like cherry red, like red, like on fire, red.
All right, have you guys ever wondered how fast somebody can really shoot a semi-auto AR-15? All right, I've got Jerry Mitchellite here, and I think we've got just the right person to show you just how. Allow me to bump fire this gun. Whoa, that was fast.
I think you got me by a whisker.
Maybe.
Right in the center of the target.
This is the same guy that melted the barrel.
I'm clear, guys.
Clear.
Outstanding. Let's go down and take a look and see what we did.
Awesome. All right, guys. This is something I want to teach you guys kind of a lesson with here with Jerry. This is proof that if you know what you're doing behind a semi-auto, you do not need a full auto weapon in order to really put the stuff where you want it to go. You see, Jerry shot a tighter group than I did. I did outrun him, but that's because I was using a bump fire stock, which of course is insanely fast. My group was a little low, and we saw that Jerry there, I guess he was being evil on the way up, decided to shoot the guy in the nether regions there.
Yeah, you got to get him off balance. That's a tactical shot, right?
Okay, so I don't want... Here's the thing. Guns... Do you know how many millions of guns? I think there's like... I was trying to listen to Tucker. You know it's ungoogleable to see how many people own semi-automatics in the United States. I spent like a really long time trying to figure it out. Tucker Carlson said something like 30 million. So one guy out of 30 million, those are lottery chances that no one would ever take, pretty much. What I'm trying to say is everybody's going gun lobbying and trying to say the NRA is responsible for this. Right. Gun owners are responsible for this. Jimmy Kimmel is...
All of Republicans are responsible.
Jimmy Kimmel is literally saying that the victims themselves, who are probably gun-toting Trump supporters, are at the fault. Like, it's their fault. Because these are the people who are actually putting the bump stocks on their AR-15s. These are the people shooting up all the pumpkins. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you look at mass shootings, these gun owners who own these guns aren't the people who are killing people.
Gotcha.
They're using them as a toy or something.
Correction, Otto says that you will only see the bullets flying if tracer rounds are used. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So meaning they could have been flying through the air without being red hot. if there wasn't a tracer round on there. I'm guessing that's what you meant by that. I don't know. Well, Otto is our gun guy, so I'm going to take his word for it.
Go ahead and take comments. We're summing it up for tonight.
Tracers are what you use at night if you are smart, says Common Sense. Let's see. I think the dog. No, the dogs don't need to go potty. No, they're just being ornery, and they just want treats. Let's see. I know I missed a lot of your guys' comments here. Imagine the eyes of a 64-year-old guy shooting from 32 floors up, 700 yards away. Yes, 100% yes. However, I mean, it was kind of like shooting fish in a barrel, but that distance, 700 yards, is massive. In all honesty, even though I have good eyesight, I'm not the best shot. I'm not sure I could have actually hit any one of the fish in the barrel from that far away. So that's just my humble contribution there. Otto says there are approximately 350 million guns in private hands in the United States with almost 4 trillion rounds.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. Democrats are all surrounded by bodyguards with guns. They feel so protected. Will they attack our guns? Yes, because if they attack our guns, their bodyguards still get to have guns. So it doesn't matter. They're still going to be... And here's the thing. When we showed the pictures yesterday of the guns that were in the room, to me it seemed very staged. It didn't seem set up like you would... I don't know. It just doesn't seem natural. I'm not the guy. You know, the military people on our channel, you guys can tell us exactly, but to me it seemed very set up.
The timeline on this, I could go over it with you. I don't think I have it up. Plus all my links are dying on me. The timeline on this is really suspicious because I guess 10:08 was when the first shots were heard. Within moments, there was a security guard on the 32nd floor. He said, I'm right here at the room. But it wasn't until an hour and a half later,
you guys,
that they got in the room.
Lee and I have been talking about this since yesterday, for 2 days.
Yeah.
The timeline does not match up.
Yeah.
They knew what room, quote unquote, this guy was in, and yet it took them like an hour and a half to engage the guy. Now, the initial story was that they found him dead. Yesterday we covered that they actually say that he killed himself when they got in there, which again doesn't make sense. He would have had time to get away. Right. None of this makes sense. The hour and a half only makes sense if the FBI and whoever is in on this was in there cleaning things up and covering it up. Right. There's no other reason why. And especially I have to go back to Trump's very telling speech.
They got in there. It was quick.
He's like, I want to congratulate the law enforcement for getting in there so quickly. And I don't remember his exact words, so don't quote me on this. But it was inferred by President Trump that by them getting in there, it stopped the culprit.
That
right.
wall faces Mandalay Bay, and they're
okay. They've released some police body cam footage. I haven't found it very pertinent. I think it's just kind of like, oh, here, look. 10:08, first shots fired. Somebody says, I see shots coming from Mandalay Bay halfway up. 10:14, an officer indicates in the radio, I'm inside the Mandalay Bay on the 31st floor. I can hear automatic fire coming from 1 floor ahead, 1 floor above us. 10:19, gunfire ceases, according to Clark County police official. 4 officers also head toward the 32nd floor. 10:20, it's been a while since we've heard any shots, someone says in a transmission. The New York Times report says, anyone have eyes on the shooter? 1 minute later, an officer says, we are taking fire from a very high floor. We believe it's possibly coming from Mandalay Bay. 10:23, we're getting from civilians that there might be 3 shooters. 10:24, the room is going to be 135. Someone who reports being on the 32nd floor says into the audio. Okay, so 10:08 to 10:24, the guy said, a police officer says, it's a 32nd floor, it's room 135. 10:25.
It's very specific.
We just spoke with security on Mandalay Bay. They're saying they have shots fired on the 29th and 32nd levels. 10:26. We have a security officer shot in the leg on the 32nd floor. He's
standing right by the elevator.
His name was Jesus something. His name was Jesus, by the way.
Was it?
His name was Jesus. He had no gun. The security officers at Mandalay Bay were not armed. Not armed. But he went there anyways.
Wow. Good for him.
He went there anyways. What a hero. He's standing right by the elevator. So at 10:08 to 10:26, there's a security officer. They know what room it is. Now, Michelle and I went to bed last night going over this timeline. Okay? I don't care if my life is on the line. I don't care what kind of weapons I have, what kind of weapons I don't have. Those guns could go off again at any second.
Right.
We're busting down that door. We're not sitting around
for an hour
drinking coffee, wondering if we should go in that room or not. You SWAT team the heck out of it.
The only reason you don't go in the room is if there's a hostage inside.
Right.
Nobody ever said anything about a hostage possibly being in there.
I'm
yelling into the computer. I'm so sorry.
He shot down the hallway and hit a security guard, the voice says later, adding there's a 4-man team on the floor with another element coming to us. We will need the 29th floor, the voice explains. It sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons. 10:38, we're investigating reports of an active shooter, asking everybody to avoid the area. 11 p.m., part of the Las Vegas Strip is shut down. 11:20, the Times reports authorities use a device to breach a Mandalay Bay room, and then they finally confirm
at 11:58 that they have one suspect down.
So, I just wanted to play that around from 10:08.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
To 11:20. It took him that long to take him out. I don't know. So that's I'm frustrated, and it doesn't sound real quick to me. Because what if he was still shooting that whole time?
So what does Trump know?
That's a good question.
That he initially came out, and he obviously didn't get the memo that he wasn't supposed to be giving stuff away.
So I think tomorrow, if there's no big things, we're going to cover some of the gun things going on right now. Just memes. Memes don't mean anything. If it comes up, I'll read it, but if it doesn't, then I won't. It talks about anybody can use anything to hurt people. Okay? Guns don't randomly go off on their own.
Right.
Cars, they can explode.
Right.
You know?
So I want to read something that Will had sent to me in an email earlier today. He said that he was found dead on arrival with a very unusual wound. Looked at his death pic. It looks like the exit wound is in the back of the head, shot through the mouth. Didn't see any spray, which is very weird.
I thought I
only
saw
blood from underneath the head and from the mouth. You know, so...
Well, it's a typical suicide shooting, but was he suicided? That's the question. I don't know.
Well, if there wasn't spray in the back of his head,
he might have been on the ground when he was suicided.
We were part of what we called the Nightmare. It was a Christian haunted house, and we were in the suicide room, and we loaded the gun with the spaghetti and the blood every time. It was a barrel, it was a pipe, and we'd put the spaghetti in the blood, and we'd screw it in. It was an air thing, so the kid sits there and he shoots himself, and then boom, on the back of the wall you have the spray. So I'm very familiar with what a suicide gun should look like.
It was to teach
we did that hundreds and hundreds of times.
The 4 main ways you can die, and at the end they led you to Christ. So we were in the suicide room.
Yes.
I was in the gang room too.
You gangster.
I played a gang member.
All right, so I wish I could read a lot more of these comments. He had enough guns for many shooters, but they did not show, they chickened out, I think. Let's see, for those who are interested, there's a graphic video at Live Leak Vegas of victims that will break your heart. Caution. Let's see. Will says his response will tell. Trump, gun control or Second Amendment bolster. That's true. We'll have to wait and see how Trump responds after this. The Good Samaritan just turned 24. The story is he picked her up and carried her across the field to safety to an ambulance. Her words, I was bleeding to death. And 2 days later, they were both smiling.
You know what? We should end with a good story here. I know it's from CNN, but the kid is real, so... if my internet will,
I don't know what made me turn back around. Maybe it was the screams. I don't know. But there were a lot. But there were a lot of people still running out. A few of them fell down. I still remember it vivid. I tried not to, honestly, but I really can't explain why or what made me turn around. I just felt, you know what, if I could help one person or multiple people, at least that's someone's life that was spared.
It's just incredible, Jonathan, because you know so many people say that and they are good people and they try to help people, but you did something that so few human beings would actually do, and you saved so many lives. I mean, how does that make you feel? Do you realize that yet? That there are maybe 30 people who are alive right now because of that decision you made to go back in?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I mean, like you said earlier, everyone's been using that word hero. I've been saying it since the whole time I got home. I'm not a hero. I'm far from a hero. I think I just did what anybody would do. Was it smart? Probably not. But if that was someone else's in the shoes and they see me, I would want them to come back and at least help me. So I can't say that I am a hero. Everybody might see different, but I'm not. I'm just a normal human being who basically seen people's lives in danger.
So we have one hero. It's a CNN interview. It's always weird. I got to tell you.
No, they're very creepy at CNN.
Aren't they just so weird?
Fake news.
Fake news. You hate to say it, but even when they're interviewing heroes, I had actually a list tweeted out of all the great heroes. Maybe we can cover them tomorrow.
Yeah. We're going to have to sign off here for tonight. We've been going for quite a while, and you guys have stuck with us, and I know it's very late. Thank you for being with us.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks.
Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. So you guys, this story is so crazy, and I know Will had said to me, because I had thrown him under the bus about making that video, and if you guys haven't gone to see it, I'm going to leave it in the comment section, or not the comment section, I'll leave it in the description again. His video on it is amazing. He said, I hate to come out right away with a video because there's still facts that are coming in.
It's okay.
And so here at Resistance Chicks, we're just going to bring you the best that we can every day. We're probably going to continue to go live for the next few days. I'm going to just guess. I'm not making any promises because there's going to be more things that come out. But I think that the main things, just to recap, is
I got to get going.
This guy was a gun runner, I think, almost positively. So I think he was laundering his money through the casinos, and I think there's a lot more that's going to come out. So we're not going to sing. We do have to get going. Thank you, all of our moderators who were here tonight. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless. And don't forget, we go live every Friday for sure at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will see you guys there. This chat should stay open for a little while. If you guys want to continue hashing it out and figuring it out, please do so. And don't forget, once the video actually processes, it takes a little bit. Leave your comments in the comment section. If I didn't get to cover them, which I didn't get to cover a lot of them, leave them in the comment section with your links so that other people can know what you guys have already researched. Last night's video is odd with the voice. They're off. I'm sorry about that. Not anything I can do. We're still working through this new software, so I apologize. It's a learning curve for all of us. I'm sorry about the going loud earlier. So, all right, you guys, we love you. Good night.